This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good morning, my Real News Media TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning for March 6, 2023, two brothers shot dead in St. James. A motive is yet to be established for Friday night's shooting death of two brothers, 54-year-old laborer Dion Scatterwaite and the 51-year-old shopkeeper Dwight Durame Waite in Roehampton, St. James. The two were at a bar owned and operated by Dwight when they were attacked about 9:30 p.m. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, the younger brother Dwight was seen on the ground in a pool of blood with what appeared to be gunshot wounds to his head and upper body. Dean, the other brother, was found suffering from a gunshot wound to his abdomen. Citizens rushed him to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The police found 4 9mm cartridges on the scene. The St. James police are investigating. Woman found after collecting package that contained cannabis. A St. James woman who had collected a package from a courier service that turned out to contain more than 4 pounds of marijuana was fined $16,000 in the St. James Parish Court on Friday. Jelaine Walker, a 40-year-old accountant, appeared before presiding parish judge Sasha Marie Smith Ashley and pleaded guilty to possession and dealing in ganja. The date of the incident was not disclosed, but Walker allegedly went to the courier service office in Montego Bay and collected a package that was discovered to contain 4 pounds and 15.92 ounces of marijuana. Walker's lawyer Martin Thomas told the court that a relative of his client, who owns a farm and is licensed to cultivate cannabis, had called her and asked her to pick up a package from the courier service, and that someone would meet her there and collect it. According to Thomas, she called the person who instructed her to go to the courier service office, which she did. The attorney said the police spotted the vehicles waiting in an area where they were not permitted to park, and when the cops approached the vehicles, the person to whom Walker was supposed to deliver the package sped off. 5 Ziploc bags containing the weed were later discovered in Walker's vehicle, according to Thomas, who added that the relative eventually sent her documentation proving that he was licensed to grow ganja. Your Honor, she was only trying to do her uncle a favor who lives overseas. She had no ill intent and never sought to benefit from it, Thomas said. She has expressed remorse, she has pleaded guilty, and has not wasted the court's time. She simply wants to move on with her life, Thomas added. Judge Smith Ashley told Walker that she did the right thing by pleading guilty, but must be more vigilant since ignorance of the law is not a defense. Before imposing a $16,000 fine or 3 months in jail for possession of the cannabis, the judge considered her previous good character and her contribution to society. She was admonished and discharged on the dealing charge. American fined after 24 bullets found in handbag at airport. An American woman was fined $150,000 in the St. James Parish Court on Friday after 24 bullets were found inside her handbag at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay last week. Brittany Allen, 29 of Atlanta, Georgia, pleaded guilty to illegal possession of ammunition before presiding judge Sasha Marie Smith Ashley. The court heard that Allen, an IT specialist, was going through the security checkpoint when her handbag was scanned and oddities were detected. The police were alerted, the bag was searched, and 24 rounds were found. When cautioned, she said she was unaware of the rounds being in her bag. Attorney Henry McCurdy, who represented Allen, said she was remorseful for not checking her bag thoroughly. He explained that she was also a firearm holder, but didn't need a license according to the regulations in her state. It was just an error on her part, the attorney added. In view of this and the fact that the accused had no previous convictions, McCurdy implored the court to impose a fine on his client, not a custodial sentence. Judge Smith Ashley ordered Allen to pay a $150,000 fine or risk spending 3 months in custody. New performance management system coming for public sector employees, says Clark. The country's public servants have been put on notice that improved remuneration means that there is the expectation of improved performance and customer service. In this regard, a new performance management system is being developed for public sector employees, according to the Minister of Finance and Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark. Clark spoke to the matter as he responded to questions from the Member of Parliament for St. Mary Western, Robert Montague, during last week's sitting of the Standing Finance Committee that examined the 2023-2024 budget. We always hear about the money, but is there a work output standardization? Because you're paying a person more, is it tied to performance? Montague asked. In responding, Clark told Montague that his question was on the minds of many Jamaicans. Because we live in a country of approximately 3 million people, the public service is 110,000. When we take up over $100 million more for that 110,000, the rest of Jamaica wants to make sure that they are going to get value for this extra spend, Clark said. This is why we have been at every opportunity speaking for the need for heightened levels of productivity and performance coming out of this new compensation structure, he added. Continuing, Clark said the government, working with our partners in the unions, will be putting in a performance management system. We're committed to having it in place 2 financial years from now. The minister explained that the system will take time to design. Additionally, he said every part of government will have a different matrix of performance indicators that will have to be assessed, and it will work differently in different parts of government. It is absolutely key if the people of Jamaica are to benefit from this huge investment that the people are making in the public service, Clark said. Jamaica's economy watchdog urges unions and the government to wrap wage talks. The watchdog for government financial discipline says there's no further room for increases in wages to public sector workers in an appeal to unions and the finance ministry to wrap up negotiations before the new fiscal year starts on April 1. Jamaica cannot afford to reverse the tremendous gains that all Jamaicans, inclusive of the public service, who have observed a great restraint and a sacrifice to achieve. We are very concerned about the risk of derailment of the microfiscal program or possible further breakdown in industrial relations between the GOJ and its employees, said the Economic Program Oversight Committee, a body set up in 2013 to monitor implementation of reforms under Jamaica's agreement with the International Monetary Fund. Government has signed off deals with over 60% of public sector workers under a new compensation review, but agreements with 2 major groups, police and the teachers, representing 30% of the public sector, remain outstanding. EPOC, which comprises representatives from the private and the public sectors and the civil society, said Sunday that the economy has rebounded to pre-COVID levels and the tax revenues have overperformed the budget, allowing the government to increase allocations for wages and the salaries from the original budgeted $268 billion to $318 billion for this fiscal year. But it says based on a review, government simply has no further room to increase the allocation to the public service in the current fiscal year 2022-2023. The government of Jamaica has projected GDP to grow by 1.6% in the next fiscal year, and it is highly unlikely that the tax revenues will continue to exceed the budget at current year levels, and the fiscal room will not be there to increase beyond the $338 billion, which is projected for the 2023-2024 fiscal year, EPOC said in a statement Sunday. It said EPOC appeals to government of Jamaica and outstanding public bodies to finalize negotiations. EPOC is strongly encouraging outstanding public bodies and their staff associations that they continue to be transparent and communicate to their membership the details of the proposed salary packages and the risk that they face in terms of payments being possibly protracted over years rather than they receiving their increased compensation in full for 2022-2023. According to EPOC, under the Fiscal Administration and Audit Act, no portion of the expenditure for salaries in this financial year can be carried over into the new financial year of 2023-2024. EPOC says that the government should continue to engage the leadership of the unions and the employees they represent as time is not on our side, as negotiations must be completed to ensure that the payments can be made from Jamaica's consolidated fund by March 31. EPOC's statement comes roughly 2 days before Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark opens the 2023-2024 budget debate in Parliament. Clark indicated last month that there was no room in the 2023-2024 budget to accommodate payments to public sector workers who have not signed their compensation agreement before the end of the current financial year. Corporal Rohan James, president of the Jamaica Police Federation, told the news that he was not concerned about the announced timeline. And at a meeting with members on Friday, he said a revised offer from the ministry a day before did not address the group's concerns, which included the absorption of certain allowances in basic salaries. The more than 25,000 member-strong Jamaica Teachers Association is also continuing negotiations, having rejected a revised offer weeks ago. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.